Alright, hey baby. So I know how much you love Christmas, so I know that I had to do at least one Christmas themed thing. So I'm going to be doing some baking now, which I used to do a lot when I was like 11, but I don't do so much anymore. So today we're going to be making peppermint cupcakes. So it actually does require a lot of things. So first of all, you're going to need some milk. You're going to need some flour. You're going to need icing sugar, because, you know, icing. You're going to need unsalted butter. So check your butter, make sure it's specifically unsalted. You're going to need salt and baking soda and baking powder. And I don't really get what the difference is. They're both white powders with baking in it, so I guess there is one. I wouldn't know. And then, of course, you need peppermint extract as well as vanilla extract to make it taste all pepperminty. Then you're going to need some white chocolate, at least 170 grams of it, so that you can get that in most packages, and preferably in chip form. You're also going to want some candy cananes, and you're going to sprinkle those on top. Candy cananes, Reed. They're not candy canes, they're candy cananes. My family's in here. You're also going to need these muffin dividers. You don't need them, but I find that they're helpful and they make them look really good. You also need heavy cream, which might be labeled as whipping cream, and it's going to be around 35%. You're also going to want some normal granulated sugar, which is as well as the icing sugar, so multiple types. You're also going to, weirdly enough, and I was surprised by this, you're going to need sour cream. But, you know, it's a dairy product like anything else.
Why sour cream?
Why sour cream? Because it's cream. It has cream in the name. Ice cream has cream in the name, so that means it's really yummy. So yeah, sour cream. And you also need some eggs. So that's everything that we need. It's a lot. Definitely a lot. But I hope that it ends up tasting really good.
Ice cream.
Okay, because you want to do this right whenever you can at the start, you're going to want to turn your oven to 350 and just leave that on. Ovens are able to be turned on. Oh, you'll see that I've amassed a little bit of an audience over here. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
They're adorable. Okay, so first of all, you're going to mix a lot of your white powders into the same bowl, and they all look identical. So first of all, you're going to want your baking soda, and you're going to take 1/4 teaspoon of it. You're going to make sure it's all good and leveled off, and you're going to deposit that into your bowl. Next, you're going to try really hard to take your salt. And you know, I'm going to do it with another angle, so I have two hands. You are also going to take just 1/4 teaspoon of your salt, which I'm able to scoop in like this fairly easily. And you're going to deposit that in. Now this is important. The baking powder, not the baking soda, you're going to take 3/4 teaspoons of it. So it's going to be 3 scoops of this. So 1 and 2.
Now, what is that?
This is baking soda. This is
Not baking soda. You said it's not
baking powder. Man, you're calling me out. You're making me look like I don't remember any of my baking things. Wow. If I'd known that they'd be totally pointing out my flaws, I wouldn't have had them. Okay. So next you're going to take 1 cup and 3/4 cups of flour. So definitely quite a lot of it. I might have to like bust out another one, but it's really hard to get it all full. I'd say this is another trick you can do is you can get a spoon out, because you can get a spoon in really easily. So you can take the spoon from the flour and deposit it into your measuring cup, and you can do that until it's all good. And well, I'd say this is about 3/4 of it. So I'm going to deposit that in, and then I'm going to try to get another full cup, maybe by pouring it. So definitely different ways you can go about trying to get it all in. Yeah, a lot of that's spilling out. This is difficult, honestly.
How did you pour?
Because it's difficult, Reed.
And there's a lot of ingredients, and sometimes you can't remember the scoops and a lot of ingredients.
Thank you, Reed. Yeah, the way I'm filming this, I have to remember this from whatever recipe, and then I have to record it because I can't like have my phone show that while I'm doing this. Okay, so this is about 1 cup, and so now that's all inside there. And then you're just going to try to mix that all together. I'm just going to use a fork. You don't really need any strong whisk yet because it's all the same white powder. So it will already look homogeneous, but you gotta make sure that you stir it around pretty well to make sure that everything is mixed in. And now we can go on to the next step. Alright, so next we're going to be mixing in all of the liquidy things. So you're supposed to get soft and buttered. Unfortunately, I put it in the microwave way too much and it is melty. Yeah, it's melted. It's melted butter, so I'm going to move it from the plate very carefully and try to pour it in. But if it was soft and buttered, you were supposed to beat it with like either a whisk or a fork until it was like relatively creamy, sort of, so you could beat it easily. So it's already in sort of a melted state, so there's not much I can do in that regard.
I think it would be soft. It was like half a minute.
So, yeah, maybe 30 seconds, and you can go along there. So next, you're going to add in 1 cup of sugar right into there, and you're going to get a whisk. You're probably going to set it to low for now, and you're just going to mix it around. After that's all nice and mixed, you're going to add in some other things that are going to give it flavoring. So first of all, you're going to crack all of your eggs. So the technique with eggs is, unlike this bowl, it's actually sort of right here. So you need to sort of strike it from the side and then try to crack it open. Unfortunately, a big piece of eggshell fell in. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to scoop it up with this.
The other eggshell, then you'll drop that in.
Yeah. Okay, I've retrieved it. So I'm just going to put this aside, and then I'm going to go on egg number 2. I also dropped in another piece.
Wow.
Okay, well, you might do it too if you had to do it on this bowl. This bowl's inconvenient. And then the last egg, you're going to drop.
Don't tell me another one just got in.
Another one got in, Lily.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm just gonna pick up that little. I'm gonna name this little piece of egg white Benjamin. So you got your eggs in. Wash your hands quickly before touching something else because eggs are kind of dirty.
And what are you gonna name the other eggshell?
Oh, I'm done with. Okay, the other eggshells I already dropped in. Why don't I call them Benjamin 2 and Benjamin 3?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm real creative.
Do you like the name
Okay.
Benjamin?
You're also going to add in your vanilla extract and your peppermint extract right into what is going to be the cake batter. So it's going to be 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. Pour. And it's going to be 1 teaspoon of the peppermint extract, which is going to make it like 17 times more Christmassy. And then we're going to mix it again with this until it is all nice and homogeneous. So I'll be with you then. Next, we're going to add in half a cup of sour cream. So I have my measuring here.
Now.
I'm just going to use a spoon for this to make sure I get exactly the right amount. Are you still doubtful of sour cream, Lily, or do you think it'll make it taste better?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, I guess we'll go through this mystery together to see if it really does taste good. So that's about half a cup. Just going to dump that in and repeat the same process of mixing it. So I'll go ahead. Now we'll be using an ingredient that's probably a lot more normal to you, and that would be half a cup, same amount of the sour cream, half a cup of milk. And you can just pour it right over, so that way if it overflows and accidentally pours in, it's no issue. So I'm just going to dump that right in. And also want to take a second to talk about mixing technique. So you're going to want to start on 1 or whatever the lowest setting is, and then as things sort of mix together and become like more fluid and sort of get used to the whisk being in there, you can then proceed to raise it up. So I'm going to mix in and then reconvene. Now, when making cake batter, as a general rule, you set aside all the solid ingredients that you make early on. So this is all the white powders I was talking about, you know, baking powder, baking soda, salts, and flour. You want to take that, put it aside before you mix it in with all the other ingredients. So now we're just going to redistribute them while we're mixing. So you can either do this by you have it in while you add it slowly, or you can add some, mix it, add some, mix it. But I'm just going to do it while I put it in. You should notice that you get a lot thicker as you go on. So I'm going to make sure it's all mixed together until it's homogeneous but still kind of creamy while also thick, and then I'll continue then. Now you're going to be here with your trusty spoon and a tin, muffin tin with some, I don't know, side liners in them. Now you don't actually need these, but it just makes them a lot easier to take out, as well as makes them look a lot more fancy. So you want to take your cake batter and you're going to use your spoon to grab a bit, and then you're going to flick it in there. They'll fall down, and generally they should be about 2/3 of the way full, but it's just easy to go through all of them one by one and then redistribute the remaining batter on the ones that look like they're less filled than the other. So I'll just do that quickly and then I'll get back to you. After you have these all done and in the tins, you're going to want to place them into your already preheated oven on any rack you so choose. And you're going to want to set a timer to make sure you don't get. So let's see if I can, okay, timer 18, start. So it will take around 18 to 21 minutes, and we'll check up on them when this time is over. Okay, so now they've been in there for the 18 minutes, and to find out if it's actually ready or not, what you do is you stick a toothpick in to see whether or not it comes out runny. So you go as far down deep as you can, and if nothing comes back out and you can see it's all fluffy inside, then that means that you're good. Unfortunately, not all of them seem to be properly cooked, so we're going to need to give them a little bit more time. Now I have put a toothpick in all of them, and you can see that it comes out just as easy. There's absolutely no liquid left in there. So that means that your actual cupcakes are all ready and you can move on to the frosting. Okay, so while the cupcakes are in the oven, you can get started on making the frosting for it. So it's going to be mostly based off of white chocolate. So it's 170 grams of it. So that's going to be the majority of this packet going into a microwave-safe bowl. And then what you want to do is you want to put it in your microwave for 20 seconds at a time. And every time it's done with the 20 seconds, you take a fork around and you mush and you try to get it into a more liquidy state, and then you do that until it's completely runny. Alright, now we're going to get started on putting the frosting together because we have all our ingredients now. So first of all, I did soften butter this time for around 45 seconds, and it seems to came out. Some of it's melted, but some of it's not. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to deposit it all into a large bowl, and this is where you're going to be making your frosting. So you get the butter in, you want to turn on your whisk to pretty high, and then you want to beat it around for about 2 to 3 minutes until it is all ready. It may take a while because butter is sort of resistant that way and it turns into a bunch of solids before it mixes together, but it should become creamy before you continue the next step. Okay, so after you have that mix and sort of a creamy consistency, you're going to add all of your other ingredients one by one. So first of all, you want 2 cups total of icing sugar, also known as confectioner sugar. So this is half a cup, so I'm just going to be adding this amount 4 times. So 1, 2. Honestly, I'm just doing this for a video, but you should probably be mixing as you actually add this. That'd be a lot easier. And 3. And this is the 4th. So I'm going to switch to medium to start mixing this. So notice it's actually kicking up quite a lot of stuff from the icing sugar. That's why I should only be putting it in a bit at once. I am limited by the tools of this video, so it's just something I have to deal with. But now I'm actually sort of getting it to mix quite a bit. And it's coming together a lot more. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is some heavy cream. So this is that 35% cream I was talking about. You're going to add 1/4 of a cup of this to your frosting. So I've opened it, I don't use heavy cream much. But yeah, heavy cream's pretty thick. Not as thick as something like dough, but still fairly thick. So I'm gonna pour that in and start mixing it. So what you'll notice about frosting is you don't actually have to cook it, except for some of the ingredients you need to microwave before you put them in. And that's because there's nothing here that can really be dangerous to serve raw or sort of uncooked. Now you might notice that it's really beginning to look like frosting. Still not quite there because we have a few more things to add. So the next thing we're going to add is our extracts, which would be 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of peppermint. So it's about half the amount that we added to the cake batter we put in the frosting of each flavor. So I'm just going to add in my peppermint and then pour it in and then mix it. You can add in less peppermint if you want, but peppermint's pretty nice and it's really Christmas themed. You know, I don't know if you know, but candy canes are peppermint, so I'm basically an expert on Christmas. So you're going to want to whisk that in again until it all looks consistent. It shouldn't really change the color too much, but it will change it a bit. But now it's really sort of getting to be that fluffy frosting texture that we all really know and love. Alright, so next thing you can add, and you can see it's getting really thick. Next thing you can add is the white chocolate from earlier. You want it generally sitting around for about 10 minutes so you don't put it in too hot. But I'm just going to go ahead and pour it right in, and you try to scoop it down with whatever utensil you're using. I'm just using a fork, so it's not too effective at that, but I'm still getting it all in there. So the white chocolate will add a lot of that nice sugary taste for the frosting, and it'll make it chocolatey. It's basically the sweetest chocolate you can get. Also, it's white, which is a Christmas color, so yeah, I still know so much. You can call me Mr. Christmas, because I know so much about Christmas. There are reindeers in it, and the reindeers are all yay! And then they flip-clop, and then you go to the reindeer races, and you lose $17, and then your dad gets mad at you because you picked the wrong horse, even though you're a kid. and you don't know anything about them, you're barely literate, but he's mad at you for betting wrong anyways on something you would have no way of knowing. So now that we've got the white chocolate in, we're just going to go ahead and mix that, and then after that we're just adding some food coloring, and then the frosting will be done. Yeah, to get the last stuff in there, I really moved it up to high. So now you're going to take, you don't have to use food coloring, which is why I didn't list at the beginning. I think I'm going to use it. So you can add something like 2 to 3 drops for it. Food coloring is actually incredibly potent, so make sure you do not get it on any of your clothing. So I'm adding 3 drops of red food coloring, and I dropped the cap. 3 drops of red food coloring. Green also works because that's also a Christmas color. By default, it'll be white, which is also a Christmas color, so you can basically take it in any Christmas direction you want to. But yeah, like you can see, as soon as you start mixing it, it becomes pink basically immediately. Like it really spreads through very well. It was just saying like how potent it is as a dye. Like it looks black when it's inside the bottle, just because of how much color it has. But yeah, now we've got a nice pink frosting that we can use to dress up the cupcake. So I'll go ahead with that right now. Alright, at this point you should have your cupcakes done, and you should also have your frosting, but make sure that you actually let your cupcakes cool down for a fairly long time before you frost them, otherwise the frosting would melt and like fall over it, so you need to wait at least a couple of hours before you get ready into it, even though that might be tempting. So they should come out of the tin pretty easily as you put this covering on them. Some of them more so than others, but it'll all be fairly easy. And I actually have a lot of really good tools for this, but because they're in storage, you also have to use a knife as much, which still works well. So you just spread it like you'd spread anything, and man, that's fluffy. You just spread it like you spread really anything else. So you just want to sort of dollop it on and sort of go around by rotating your hand around it rather than rotating the arm with a knife. You rotate the cupcake to make sure you can get a nice even spread on it. So that's one done. There's a bit there I want to get more of. So that's one done, and it's not really leaking over, so it should be fairly easy to eat. And you're going to want to repeat that for every single one. And then if you still have more frosting left over, you can try to add it to some other ones in the middle. Again, it's a lot easier with a piping bag, but that's in storage, and it's not, I don't know if you have one, you might not. So I'm just demonstrating with a knife. So you should be able to add that, and I'll cut to when all the frosting on the cupcakes is done. Now that your cupcake children are all frosted and ready, you start to bring down the mallet of Thor on some candy canes, so that way you can sprinkle it atop the candy canes on the cupcakes, and that makes them like 30 times more Christmassy. So you just want to put them under a cling wrap, and then you're going to bring it down confidently. Well, a few flew out, but just on the table, so you're going to do that a few times until they're a really good size. Maybe do it a bit lighter. A nice and good, these are really fragile. A nice and good size for garnishing them, so that way you have something on your cupcake that's even more Christmassy. And I'll cut to you when I have these all done and chipped. Alright, so now that's done. You should have it sort of fine like this. Maybe there are a few larger pieces, but just, I'll crush that. So now you have all this candy cane material that you can lightly dust on each cupcake, like such. Maybe not that much. But man, now that's the most Christmassy cupcake I've ever seen. Because I haven't really seen any other all that Christmassy ones. Boop. So yeah, basically that's the tutorial for them. I think I'm going to be dropping them off at your house just in a bit. And yeah, it was very nice to do this. I hope you have an absolutely amazing Christmas season, and I hope that you have a lot of fun with your family. And I love you very much.